I'm happy to hear that you still do some roasting. It's not like, because you were the only woman doing roasting. Like it sounds like so corny to be like you paved the way, but like you have been such an inspiration to like myself and so many other female comics. Like you're just like badass. Like you did not give a shit. Like listening to the old roasts, like it was just amazing to watch.
I remember always my manager calling with these roasts, and she's like, okay, like you're the only woman comic on it. Cause there'd be other women, like, you'd have like Maureen McCormick from the Brady Bunch or whoever, like whoever was in the moment. I'm like, wow, there's nobody else who does these. And I just thought it was cool as F. But also remember back in those days, I wasn't really a woman comic. I was more just like a comic because I was this weird, like, older chicks, didn't start comedy till I was 30. It's like, oh, she's not a guy, she's not a girl, like I don't know what she is. And it's like, okay, she just does comedy like a guy. So I just enjoyed the hell out of it, man. And then again, looking back, I'm like, oh, those roasts were pretty enjoyable. I mean, they're hard because they're a lot of work. I mean, they're really hard.
Oh my God. Yeah. I just did a few, when the roast battles were like really in vogue a couple years ago. And I know like in New York City and in LA, there were like these roast battle couple scenes going on.
Oh yeah.
And it's so much work. It's more work. I would put more work into these roasts than like my actual set. And I'd be like, what am I doing? And then you never can use these jokes again unless you roast a similar person.
Well, I found this great way around never using the jokes again. I remember the first time I pursued going on Stern was right after my first roast, which was the Chevy Chase one. And I was like, oh, I bet if I go on and I tell Howard all the jokes they cut out, that would be a cool, like, little shtick to do. And so then I kept going on after that and doing that kind of thing. And it's like, I never like to waste jokes. And also sometimes I would put them in my act. I'd be like, dude, but the people have to be famous. See, roast battle, those guys aren't famous yet. But if you go like, oh my God, this freaking David Hasselhoff, and they'd clap, and then you do those jokes. So it was pretty good. I didn't like to waste time in real estate of jokes.
How did you know that you had a strength for roast jokes? Like, was Chevy Chase the first roast you did?
Yeah, it was. That wasn't how I knew. I knew I'd be good at it because when I first started comedy, I was just doing normal comedy, talking about myself or weight struggles or family or whatever. But I noticed during my first set ever, I did an ad lib. And I remember watching the tape because it was VHS in those days. And I saw two guys high five in the background, in the back of the audience. So I go, ad lib. Okay. So make a note to yourself. Like the whole thing I tell people now is like, just notice your life. Like stop just not noticing.
Ooh.
So I noticed I loved it. Then I would listen to tapes, cassettes in the car on the way home of the set from those nights of open mics and different things. And I noticed the only time I laughed out loud was when I was ad-libbing with the audience. So then I started like insulting them and having fun with it. And I noticed like no one's really getting mad at me. So I have this like little gift that makes them know I don't mean it because I didn't. Unless it's a heckler, then it's all, it's on. But I was like, oh, okay, I'm just going to follow that. So I just followed that path of like talking to the audience and insulting them. And then thank God the Friars Club noticed that I was good at it. They pushed Comedy Central to put me on Chevy Chase. And then it was like forever after that, they would ask me to do it.
Wow.
So it was pretty badass. I mean, again, I feel like Johnny Lawrence from Cobra Kai.
Yes. I love that show.
I know. Isn't it the best ever? So I think it's really interesting to have done that and have happiness around it. Like, but I don't miss it because I get to do it in a little more tailored form on the new show.
Did you feel as though that very first roast, like looking back, was it kind of an audition in a sense for?
Oh my God, dude. It was literally where, okay, I had bought my first apartment.
Wow.
And, it was right after September 11th. So prices in the city were pretty low, but my parents had co-signed a mortgage for me. The apartment was like literally 360 square feet, little studio. It was so cute. I like wish I lived there now.
Where was it?
Tudor City. So it was right near the UN. So I remember closing the door on the way out the door before the roast, looking back and going, like, it's so corny, but I was like, when I come back, my life will have changed.
Ooh,
For the bad.
Lifetime movie. Yeah.
Like, who knows if it's the good or the bad, right? Yeah, it felt so Lifetime. I was so dramatic. I
But
still
you
am.
knew it was big. Yeah.
Yeah, so the freaking roast, thank God. I went up 13th. Everyone was bombing. It's famous for everybody bombing. Everybody talks about it. And then during the broadcast, I had done so well during the roast part because I was like, this is my freaking chance. He's not going to throw me off, that they put me up, and it looks like I went up third. So they moved me up in the order. So I knew that was a real compliment. But dude, when I walked out the door after the day after it aired, I literally thought I was going to be recognized on the street. I walked out and I'm like, hello.
Hello, world.
And I literally looked at my doorman. I'm like, hello, doorman. He's like, hello, Miss 3B. I mean, it's like, we don't know you. But I got to say that. And I think everything's meant to be because Chevy acted like such an a-hole on that roast. And he was so negative and wore sunglasses and was just brutal. I knew Howard would want to hear about the backstage stuff. And I go, ooh, I bet this is a way to get on Howard finally. I always waited until I was ready and had something to offer. So, I mean, I just think those are things we have to like do in life. And I think it's because I started later. I didn't try to force myself into stuff that, hey, can I come on and talk about ... You know, I knew what the focus should be.
You focused on you and you were ready.
Yeah. And I was just like, I have to have something to offer Howard Stern. I'm not famous yet. I have to like go on and tell him backstage stuff about Chevy, which I had, the jokes that weren't used. And I'm like, what can I do for you? And then thank goodness he took a liking to me, and it was just the best gift of my whole life.
Wow. I've heard other people mention Chevy's kind of a dick. Was he like the biggest dick of all the people you roasted?
No one else was a dick. That's what's so wild. Hasselhoff, fantastic. Believe it or not, Trump. He at the time had a sense of humor. I roasted him twice, once in private for the Friars Club. It's really funny. And the one on TV, what happened to him? So even him, Flavor Flav was great. Flavor Flav, knowing he was going to be a joke. So he was like, I'm just laughing at everything. All I liked was the people who laughed. You know what I felt was respectful? All the jokes aren't good. Like there's a lot of guys who are lazy, a lot of people who just kind of don't put in that month long of just hammering stuff out to perfection and are lazy and dumb. And like a guy like Flavor Flav was such a gentleman and like laughed at everything like it was a killer. Same thing with Gene Simmons on A&E. Gene Simmons, oh my God, I think he just likes his name mentioned. He's like a Trump in a way, just that one way, is that they love their name mentioned so much that they want to freaking laugh at everything. So yeah, dude, no one was a dick except Chevy, and I got through it. I said, oh, well, okay, it'll never be that bad again.
Who was the hardest to write for, and who was the easiest to write for?
Well, they're all hard, because if you look at it as, they always would make me, or for a while made me go last because I was always like unfollowable. So there's not much I'm good at, but like I'm good at that. So all the guys would be like, I'm going up third, I'm going up fourth. I'm like, you're a fucking pussy. So how about I just go last?
Wow.
Now Comedy Central, you get to pay me more, because I'm like, what am I, stupid? So nobody's easy, because even if they look like an easy target, all the good jokes are going to be gone. So say a Pam Anderson, even if I write the best boob joke in the world, after 2,500 boob jokes, even the best boob joke isn't going to be good. Wow. So you have to look for things that are different, qualities and traits of the people there, including the subject, Pam, that are interesting. Like for instance, with Pam, her kids' names were like Dylan and Brandon, like from 90210. Leonard Nimoy was on the William Shatner roast. He sent in a tape. So I found like a little known fact about Leonard Nimoy. So I was just like, we have to go deeper so that it doesn't all seem surfacey and repetitive after all these guys.
That's what I was wondering about. Like, wow, you go last. Like, are you sitting there going, oh, there's so many of my jokes. Not that your jokes are being taken, but like, are you
subject? Well, yeah. I knew better than to waste my time on tit jokes for Pam, horror jokes for Pam. Like, stop it. Okay, enough. But some of them, like here's a great one. We're sitting there, and I always invited. We all kind of have a writing team who help us. Well, not that Comedy Central hires it. Like we have our own little guys who we kind of do everything together. So Don Jameson and Mike Morse are, I always got them tickets. We're in the freaking audience. There's the Shatner roast. Jason Alexander is the roast master. So I always go, my first joke is always about the roast master because thank you, Jason Alexander, blah, 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 blah. So my first joke is going to be, thank you, Jason Alexander. Come here, kiss me. So I know what Seinfeld's cock tastes like. The whole roast, Jameson and Morse, every commercial break, they're looking at me going, oh my God, nobody did that joke yet. Oh my God, nobody took the joke yet. Oh my God, like, because your opener, you just want to grab them. Dude, we, after that roast, go, I cannot believe no one did it and I got to do it. Because it's so nerve-wracking.